Oh, hello there. Thank you so much for choosing us every weekend. And I'm happy that I'm able to bring you some good installments of Personality Profile. Now, today, one man who's very technical, if you followed his conversations in the media space or in the sector education, you know that won't talk much, but every time he's talking, it's quite technical. So today we said, you know what? Let's put the technicality aside and get to know at least his favorite food if he has one. We can't always be working all the time. And so this morning this evening, forgive me, I managed to convince Dr. Kwabena Bempah Tandoh. Yes, yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, I managed to convince him to take my seat this evening on Personality Profile. He is the immediate past Deputy Director General for GES, and you must have followed the conversation, especially when the double track came in. A lot of people were asking who are those behind it. Is it worth it at all? Today, we'll probably, after we get to know a lot about him, we'll spend some time understanding that sector. Many have said that we should stop it at all, but first, we'll focus on his leadership style and what he brings to the fore when it comes to that sector and other technical areas that you may have heard him talk about. Doc, thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Bempah. I'm grateful.
I would say that every time you're talking on TV and all of that, when I came, I kept saying that it's all technical, right? So today we'll write a little bit myself.
Sure.
Right, so first of all, let's just start at the double track, because the immediate thing that I remember you for, is it something you enjoyed? Was it needed at all?
Well, I think that the issue of the double track was the question of creating more access for students who had completed junior high school and technically, there goes the word technical again, and technically had passed junior high school, and they were progressing to senior high school. But what we had in Ghana, even from the time I was a student, is that admission was based on space. So once the particular school fills its space, then it becomes difficult to admit more students. So there is usually a cutoff point. But with the double track, it was introduced after the Eswell government of President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo had decided that with free senior high school, they wanted everybody who passes to have the opportunity to go to school. However, we didn't have the space. So we needed to figure out a way to innovate and create that space. I would say at the end of the day, the double track was beyond a question of access. It was also a moral imperative, because whose child was going to be left without access to school? And how are you going to make that decision that child A versus child B shouldn't have access to school, even though all of them had passed? So it was beyond creating access. I believe it was also a moral imperative that we created opportunity for every child to go to school.
Today you look back, you say that was a worth it journey?
I believe it was absolutely worth it. And the reason why I say that is that had it not been for the double track, at least my 7 years in Ghana Education Service, the entire time I was there, was the chief technical officer for double track. Had it not been for it, some almost 1.3 million people, 1,274,000 or so children had access to school beyond what would have been possible had it not been for double track. So on the fact that the novice idea has been able to provide opportunity for another 1.3 million kids to have access to a teacher, I believe it's absolutely worth it.
I mean, it's a little over a year since you exited that office. You look back, what do you miss?
I miss my colleagues, beyond the work, I miss my colleagues. The really cordial environment that we worked in and Ghana Education Service is truly a service. So you have the chief officer, who is the director general at the top, who controls the entire service. But it's the service that you would see at every part of the government or the country's administrative structure. The national office, but then there are also regional structures, district structures, all the way up to the school structure. And I really missed the opportunity to interact more frequently with regional directors, district directors, heads of schools, and most importantly, the students and teachers as well. So I do miss that opportunity to spend more time with my colleagues. However, because of technology, you at least get a bit of that through exchange of WhatsApp to see how people are doing. I still attend people's children's graduations and family gatherings, the unfortunate situations of funerals. So I do get the opportunity from time to time to still interact with some of my colleagues, but that's probably what I miss the most.
Let's take it all back. A lot of people are wondering, why is some of us starting this conversation on the typical way? But let's talk about where you started. Where were you born?
I was born here in Accra. I was born in Dakuman. In a home of a midwife. So I wasn't born in a hospital or a clinic. I was born in a home of a midwife. I'm told that when my mother went into labor, there was a midwife not too far away, so she was rushed there. And from there, interestingly enough, my father tells me that right after, when I was born, Ghana had just gone through a coup. In 1979, and then there was a transition back to democratic rule. So I was born during that time here in Dakuman. My father is from Emena in the Ashanti region, which is right next to Tek, Buedi, that area. There's a small town or village called Emena, and that's where my father's mother is from, so that's what my father's side. My mother is from Goso in the Ahafo region. Her family is the Jase family. So my mother is actually the Jase Hema of Goso. Oh. And her younger brother is the Jase Hene of Goso. So I was born here in Accra.
Really, in Goso, you can have siblings that occupy traditional roles like that?
Well, yes. So because, the Asante or the Akan tradition is that it's maternal, right? So because it is maternal, my mother's sister's children obviously can inherit this too, but not her brother's children. Okay. Right? So inheritance is through the mother lineage. So yes, we, as a matter of fact, my uncle is a bit not in very good health, and so even though he is the Jasehene, my older cousin is the one who is basically
runs the affairs in his stead. Okay. Yes, but were you traveling there? Were you frequenting there? Which
Absolutely.
one of these towns were you mostly?
Well, when we will have school vacations, every school vacation you'll be sent to your grandmother. You wouldn't have the opportunity to stay in Accra or Tema where we eventually moved. So you'd always be sent to your grandmother. And so every long vac will be sent to our grandmother. And my grandmother and her sister were both farmers. My grandfather was also a farmer, but he was also an what you may call a missionary or an evangelist for the Methodist Church. Okay. So he went around planting churches. So my grandmother and her sister had farms, cocoa farms. So we'll be sent there. But we were young, when you're usually 5, 6, all the way up till about 13 or 14, we'll go just about every long vac. And we'll go to the farm, but we didn't know we had to work. It was time for us to play. And there's a river in Goso called Gore River, right? And so it is on top of the Gore River that you get Goso.
Oh,
right?
I see.
Yeah. So the interesting thing about Go was that we will jump from the bridge. If you were brave enough, you jump from the bridge into the river.
Which you did.
I wasn't that brave. I used to walk from the banks.
Did you have siblings?
Yes, there are 10 of us. Our oldest brother unfortunately passed away a couple of years ago, but he was always our gang leader, right? Gang leader.
10?
Yes.
All for both parents?
Yes, yes. So 10, and then I am actually number 9 in order.
Did you think you'd be the last?
Actually, yes. I used to be called Ketre until my younger brother came and dethroned me.
Oh my God.
Yes.
What's your younger brother's name?
Kofi.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, in Dakuman, do you recall the number of years you spent in Dakuman, and if your parents had to move?
Actually, if I tell you that I recall my Dakuman years, I'll be lying.
Okay.
We moved to Odan Well, because at the time I spent a lot more time. My mother was frequenting London and Accra. So she left me with her older sister. Her husband was a government auditor. So my earliest memories are in Odan. Then from Odan, I remember we moved to Nsawam. Of course, government civil servants have moved around. Then when I was about 5 years old, we moved to Asante Mampong.
Okay.
And then that's where I began school. And so I have more memories there, but my earliest memories were in Oda, in the government bungalows. Then eventually we moved to Nsawam, then to Asante Mampong. When I got to about primary 3, then my father decided that I can join him in Tema. So that's when I moved to Tema.
Which part of Tema were you?
Community 11. I'm a Community 11 boy.
I think that Community 11 was quite refined. It was a place that people in Tema said that, oh, if you lived in, where do you live? I live in Community 11. They said, okay. Then we kind of know the kind of home you're from. Is this my imagination or is the truth? Maybe in essence, what kind of child were you?
Well, my father was the chief accountant for GIHOC.
Okay.
So the Ghana Industrial Holding Companies. So he moved again as a civil servant. He worked with a lot of the GIHOC operations, from electronics, paint, pharmaceuticals. He even worked for Jute in Kumasi, where they did the cocoa bags. So we lived in Community 11. And I guess in Tema, at the time, Community 6 was really the bourgeois community.
Okay.
Because that's where most of the Valco senior executives lived. We used to even say that's where the Abrofo lived, right? And then Community 10 was also 2, 5, 6, 10, and 11. When you're driving from the hospital down towards the ocean, it's on the right side. So I guess that's also where the general hospital is. So I would say the right side was a bit more bourgeois, if you want to say that. So 11, we were the later part of the bourgeois.
And in Tema, I want to guess the school you went to, but I'll leave it to you. Which of the schools did you go to?
My father is a very disciplined man. So he sent us to Tema Naval Base School. It was a school run by the Navy. It was in Tema Newtown.
Tema Newtown?
Yes, it was in Tema Newtown. And he felt all his boys must go to the Navy school.
Why?
My sisters went to Star Preparatory, but my older brothers, myself, we all went to Tema Naval Base School. And I remember some really great opportunities in Naval Base School. Because we lived in Community 11, the Navy used to have a bus that would pick us up and then take us to school. So I did primary 4 all the way to junior secondary school 3 at Tema Naval Base School. So I spent about 6 years there, formed a lot of really great friends there. But my most vivid memories and experiences were just the military discipline of Naval Base School.
Why would your father choose a military school? I mean, I hear you.
I have never asked him, but knowing the kind of man that my father is a very orderly man. You know, he taught us to close doors when we walk through them. He taught us to leave things where we met them. So because he was very orderly, you know, those days, and now you don't see it in a lot of homes, but they used to have these things called chair backs, right? It was these little things they put on the back of the chair so that it doesn't get dirty.
Yes.
And so my father used to be a stickler for straightening the chair back after you get.
I can tell from the way you've ironed your shirt. It is really, really straight.
My father used to let us iron socks before, yes, and boxers before we wear them. Till today, I don't like to iron, but my socks must be ironed.
We can just tell by the way the shirt is ironed.
That's the old man.
But what did Tema Naval Base School do to you?
It really was a great youthful time. I had some really great teachers. I'd like to tell you a story about a teacher called Mr. Kulu. And one of the things that it's really great about that experience is later in life, when I become Deputy Director General, Mr. Kulu and most of the teachers were and are still in the Ghana Education Service. So from being their student, I became their boss, right? But it
Wow.
That's quite interesting.
Yeah.
But one of the things is Mr. Kulu he had a knack for identifying strong things in students. And for some reason, he nicknamed me Confidence Bempah. Bempah is my middle name. So he nicknamed me Confidence Bempah for the way that, I used to carry myself when there are questions and someone used to answer, I would answer. And when I was in junior secondary school 3, we had, at that time, national service people were teaching a lot in JSS. So we had this national service teacher, and I don't remember his real name, but they used to call him Mr. Basti. And Mr. Basti was doing some mathematics on the board, and my mouth. Hey, waiting.
Hey!
And of course, Mr. Basti, they called me to go and prove him wrong, and
you did?
I went on the board and I did.
Oh, I think you still deserve an applause.
Of course, I got a lot of lashings for it.
for telling them that is wrong. But
yes.
were you right?
I was right. I was right that he had made a mistake. But from all those experiences, Mr. Kulu nicknamed me Confidence Bempah. My mates, some 33 years later, still call me Confidence Bempah.
Oh, look at that.
And I think that there is a power in what you tell people, because, my father also says that I exude too much confidence, that sometimes
is he worried?
He's not worried, but he laughs at me. He always says, and he also says that
What was your favorite subject in school? Would it be the math?
I enjoyed mathematics a lot, and
you're one of the few people.
I still love mathematics.
Okay.
And maybe that's why I'm also a numbers guy when it comes to analysis and things. But I also enjoyed history. I have an affinity for history. And so wherever I go to, I'm really interested in understanding not just what is, but what was that has made what is now. So I am a big lover of history.
By this time in school, did you have any idea of what you'd become?
When we were all growing up, our parents would say that you're going to be a doctor, an engineer. And in my house, because my father was an accountant or a lawyer, so you had 4 options.
Doctor, lawyer, accountant.
Or an engineer.
And
the doctor was not the doctor that I am now. I became a doctor, but not what everybody else. The doctor is really a medical doctor.
Yes.
Right? So I knew that I wanted to be a doctor. So even when I completed JSS, and initially I had applied to PRESEC, Accra Academy, and I can't remember, those days we used to select 3 schools. I was admitted into PRESEC, but somehow I decided I wanted to go to Bempah College.
Why? Oh, by the way, when I told my boss that I was coming to interview Kuku Superpro, he says, oh yeah, Bempah, please, by all means, go there. And that's the production assistant opening his house at Bempah College, really. Why? At that time, why?
Well, my grandmother on my father's side lived in Kumasi. And my uncle went to Bempah College. My grandmother's younger brother went to Bempah College.
Okay.
So I had Bempah College on my heart, even though, I chose PRESEC because my father's family is Presbyterian and everything else. But after I got the admission, I knew that I wanted to go to Bempah College. So I cried and I pushed my father. And luckily, my father knew the Berza. Accountants, they know each other. So called the Berza. Berza went to the headmaster. At the time, there was a headmaster called Alti Saki. We used to call him Tosca. And somehow he agreed to admit me into Bempah College to do science.
Today, would you still, to do science? Yes. Okay, we'll talk about that, but today, would you still choose Bempah?
I would not choose any other school.
Pretend you're not watching, and then...
Bempah College, Bempah College, Bempah College.
And the ending?
I'm on for. Right? It's also about the fact that, and I'm not, no knock on anybody, but in this world, there are 3 kinds of people. There are the idiotas. Those are the people who are very self-centered, all about themselves, not even about their family, but they are absolutely self-centered. They are idiotas. Then there are tribesmen.
Okay.
Tribesmen are people who care about their family and their small groups and everything else. Then there are citizens. Citizens are the ones who actually care beyond even their group and about their entire country, their community, and people around them. Bempah College trains citizens, and that's why we are Amanfoɔ, the only institution that actually trains and develops citizens.
What did Bempah College do to you?
Well, it taught me how to actually be focused on not just myself, but be focused on, growing people around me, supporting things around me. Gave me great friendships. And I know in this country, people are always wondering whether Wuntumi went to Bempah College. Wuntumi was my mate.
He was?
We went into Form 1 together. Not only was he my classmate, but he was actually my dorm mate.
Really?
So we didn't just live in the same house, Agri House, but we were all in Dorm 7. So some great friendships were developed at Bempah College that continue to sustain us till today. My colleagues, and another great thing about Bempah College, once we see each other, it doesn't matter what year you completed. You are always referred to as a senior. And the love that Bempah College people have for each other, it's actually amazing. When I was relocating to Ghana, my first home that I moved into, the entire 1 year rent was paid for by a senior I didn't know. I had just gone into, his name is Senior Poko. He left Bempah College some 15 years before I went there. I went into a friend's office, we were having a conversation, told him I was relocating to Ghana. He held my hand, took me to a place, rented me a house so that my wife and kids could join me. Then he gave me a car for 1 year, insurance paid, everything. So it's the power and the bond of the Amanfoɔ.
As a persec, for us at the Kika means me can be mama. So you read science at Bempah College. Was it tough on you? Was it your decision fully, or?
It was my decision. I wanted, at the time, in my head, I knew and thought I was going to be a medical doctor. I enjoyed science. I enjoyed all my subjects, all my science subjects, chemistry, physics, biology, and ADMAS at the time. I really appreciated all those subjects. However, right when when we were completing Bempah College and writing our WASI, that's when the unfortunate or different opportunity came, which is I left Ghana. I was young. I was always about 2 years younger than my mates, because when I was at Naval Base, I was jumped.
You skipped?
I skipped
classes.
So because I skipped, I was always a year and a half, 2 years younger. So when I was leaving Ghana in 1996, I was 16 years old.
Yeah. I mean, why?
My father had won the green card lottery, and all his children under 21 could emigrate to the United States. So, this was in the mid-90s, and my father felt it was a great opportunity for him and the children. So we emigrated to the United States.
All of your siblings who were below?
Below 21.
Okay.
Yes, we all
that would be how many of you?
There were 4 of us.
4. Okay.
Yes, who emigrated to the United States. When we got there, within about 3 or 6 months, my father had to come back to Ghana.
Why?
I don't think that, he was a very well-established accountant here in Ghana, and then moving to the US without any career path. And then he felt that he wanted to be back. So he left us with his sister and her husband. I eventually moved out of their home and lived with my high school teacher, who was also a state senator, so a politician.
I see.
Yes. But going to America, I had to spend 2 more years in high school because of age restrictions. In America, you have to enter university when you're 18. So I was told I was too young to go to university.
The first day your father told you that, maybe not you only, you and your siblings or the family, how did he break the news when he had won the lottery?
My dad is a very methodical person. So I was at school and a message came, a driver came that your father needs you in Accra. When we came to Accra, we went to do the whole passports thing and a lot of questions. Why are we doing the passports and everything else? He said, one day we will travel.
Oh.
So we went to do our passports and then went back to school. Then we got message again that we need to come. Then we went to the embassy and he said, oh, the travel time has come. I was like, 2 months later? So it just happened that way. And of course, a young boy at that particular time, I was giddy. I was excited.
You were excited then?
Who doesn't want to go to Abu today?
But that time you were young, you know, now you associate a lot of greener pasture with Abrochiri, but you were in Bempah College.
Well, it was that whole thing of, you know, because some of our friends who had the privilege to go to London for holidays, when they come back and they talk about, oh my God, the buses and this and that. And we're like, so there was this youthful energy, excitement, you know, about going. My younger brother and I, we would spend nights almost imagining what America would look like. At that time, of course, internet was not around, so we couldn't go online to see.
Check.
So you know, we used to have, at that time, we had the VHS. DVDs were not even there. So we'd watch American movies again, just so we can see what the environment looks like, how to walk when you get to America. You know, we thought that you needed, you know, my brother, he would, he would, at that time, he would always speak and he would always say, you know.
Oh, he had started practicing
because he was afraid that if he doesn't speak like an American, you best sign the airport.
Your mother, how did she take the news? I mean, you already told us your mother was, you know, traveling to the UK and back and all of that, but
she, at that point, she and my mother my father had separated, so she was settled in the UK with some of our older siblings. So she actually also felt it was an opportunity for the younger ones to get the opportunity to travel. So she was quite happy.
First day you got to America, was it exactly what you imagined? First of all, your experience on the flight.
So let me tell you a funny story. My older cousin had been to London a couple of times on the Ghana Airways DC-10, the one that's now a mess.
Restaurant or whatever it is, I'm not sure.
They've even taken down the restaurant. But that same plane is what I took to America. So when my cousin came back from London, he told us that on Ghana Airways, once you get there, there's a choba at the back. So we were all excited about he was not knowing he was pulling our legs. So we had planned the Akrantia, we would order on the flight. And so we got on the flight, the plane took off. And I remember at that time, the Ghana Airways used to land in Senegal to refuel. Because the DC-10 couldn't get from Accra to New York without refueling. So they would get to Senegal, refuel, and then cross the Atlantic. And after we landed in Senegal and took off, they started to serve. And my younger brother, again, you know, he would turn around and he says,
by this time, he'll be about 12.
I would not.
He'll be about 12 or 14.
Yeah, 12 or 13. And I remember vividly even the food they served. They served two options, lamb or fish. And for a long time, my younger brother used to say they came with something they call lamb or fish, right? So, but it was quite, of course, the first time ever being on a plane. Maybe that's why I also fell in love with aviation. But it was really a different experience. You know, the whole idea. I don't remember turbulence. Maybe we had it, but then, you know, the landing into America, April 15th, 1996. We got into America. You know, when they parked the plane, just like we have at Kotoka now, it's a jet bridge. So you get into the jet bridge and you don't feel it's cold. Right? So it's all warm. So after we got out and then picked up our bags and then we got out, I will not forget, I told my father that, deep freezer near Bettingham. And till today, my father still talks about that. You know, so that was my first experience. But then, you know, we had a long drive to Connecticut. I remember I saw my first snow the following October. So when we got there,
in April, but in
October is when the first set of snow.
How was it? Was it bad? Was it serious?
It was surreal. You know, we had read about these things in the Ladybird books. and things like that. It was my first time even eating an apple. You know, we talk about AIDS for apple, but at that time they didn't sell apples in Ghana. When I saw snow, it was surreal. I don't know how to describe, but there was something in my body like this is not natural in my head because it was an experience I had never had before. So definitely the entire initial stages in America, the cold and the hot summers and everything else. Then my first summer in America, it was when I actually had my first job ever as well. And I was working on a farm. We used to harvest corn.
But you're
and
very
tomatoes.
young.
I was in America at 16. You can
work. Yeah.
Yes.
Your father was happy with that.
My father was happy with that. You know, because it was a farm job, over the table payment. At the time, I was making 1996. I made $10.48 an hour.
And then I'll bet you because at that time there,
I bought a bicycle after 2 weeks.
Anyway, but I can't wait to hear your experience in school.
Yes.
How you assimilated, whether it was easy, difficult, do you have any challenges? No, for now. How did confident how did you fare in class, in school?
I really settled very quickly into my mathematics class. I remember my first class in America. In America, they don't just teach, but they teach based on their subject area. So you go to a geometry class, then you do a trigonometry class, calculus 1, calculus 2, and the like. So my first class was geometry. When I was in Ghana, I also enjoyed technical drawing a lot. And you know, geometry and technical drawing goes together. So I settled well into that class. Because I was coming from Ghana, they also put me in a class that is called ESL, English as a Second Language. And we had a teacher. The teacher that was teaching English as a second language was from Eastern Europe. Her name was Miss Yuska. 3 weeks into it, she took me back to the guidance counselor and said, "This boy can speak English. He's not, you know."
Bempah College did you good? A lot of the reading did you good?
You know, Bempah College, we speak impeccable English.
Say.
We speak impeccable English in Bempah College.
Say.
Let's not go there.
You are in the same dorm with Chama Wuntumi.
Chama Wuntumi speaks very good English.
No, I'm just asking if you're in the same dormitory with Chama Wuntumi. I like him very much. I totally and absolutely love him very much.
Yes.
But the years in America, you'd say that you spent about how many years?
A total of about 15 years in America. Because we settled in Connecticut, I completed East Hartford High School. I then went to University of Connecticut. But at that time, I had realized that you don't have to be a medical doctor.
At what point did that hit you, though?
I think when I was applying to university in America, then there was this whole idea of choose whatever you want, and it didn't care what you did in high school.
Okay, that's so very different from the then culture here in Ghana. You choose whatever you want. How?
Yes.
No, in Ghana.
And as a matter of fact, in most American liberal arts institutions, you don't even decide what you want to do until you enter level 300.
Okay.
So your first 2 years, you explore. I was actually in a college called the Academic Center for Exploratory Students. So my first 2 years, interestingly enough, I took courses in civil engineering, I took courses in landscape architecture, I took courses in chemical engineering, I took courses in urban planning, and I ended up that I wanted to do urban planning. So they give you the opportunity to dabble in a lot of things and to figure out if you really want to do it. As long as you are taking care of your core subjects, you could do whatever you wanted with your electives to really see where your interest lies and everything else.
By this time, how was your younger brother faring?
He was doing well. I left
I'm very
him.
biased to your last baby because I am a last baby. So he was doing well?
He was doing well. He completed high school and he took a different route than I did. However, Nigeria was quite it's an amazing place, great learning experiences, tough environment, and it teaches you a lot about life.
From like basically cold to hot.
Yes, yes, and cold to hot and cold to Lagos alone has, at the time when I moved to Nigeria, Lagos alone had 26 million people. So Lagos alone had more people than Ghana at the time in 2010. So it's a really high, densely populated area. There's a lot of competition. And so you have to be on top of your game when you're doing your work because your employer has so many other options. But I learned a lot in Nigeria. One of the key things I learned in Nigeria is whatever you're running, you almost have to run it like a municipality.
What's
right?
that mean?
Trash pickup in Nigeria doesn't work. Water doesn't always run. Electricity, when we say we have Dumso in Ghana, go to Nigeria. Their electricity company is called NEPA. Or it used to be called NEPA, which is NEPA. And Nigerians used to say, never expect power always. Right? Then they changed this to PHNC, Power Holding Company of Nigeria. No, Power Holding Company of Nigeria.
Okay.
Right? Or Power Holding Nigerian Company or something like PHNC. And people then change it to please hold candles nearby.
My goodness. I mean, I've heard about the power switching in Nigeria, but it's that, I'll take it from you, it's that bad, huh?
Yes, when I lived in Nigeria, everybody had this small generator that they called, I better pass my neighbor. So, I am better than my neighbor, so they said, I better pass my neighbor. It's this small generator, it will power your fan and your light, and even when people live in single rooms, it's in their bedroom. As soon as power goes out, they put it outside the door, they plug it in, they turn it on, and if you're walking out, the noise. Everybody, da, 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 da. So, yes.
And you still chose to live in Nigeria?
It was a fantastic experience. The food is good, suya is amazing. The people are so, they are innovative, they have so much ingenuity. And when they are working hard, they are working hard. When they are playing hard, they are playing hard. When they are scamming you hard,
they are scamming you very hard as well.
It's in Nigeria, when I came to Ghana with them, they started calling them 419ers. But in Nigeria, I remember they used to call them Yahoo boys. But it's such a fantastic place to be if you really want to get in and grind and do the work.
Would you say that Nigeria gave you a soft landing? When people have to move from America or other parts of the Western countries back to Ghana, it's their home, but it's usually very difficult to, come back home. You had to do it. There was a detour. You went to Nigeria and then back to Ghana. So from Nigeria, you came straight to Ghana?
Yes.
Or you did a return?
No, I came straight to Ghana from Nigeria.
Okay.
I would say it was a hard landing. It really helped me to tough it out and to hustle. So when I moved from Nigeria to Ghana, it was much easier because Nigeria had really taught me to, 11 p.m., midnight. The school I was running, our campus was in Ogun State in a place called Shagam. And one major instruction I had was the children could not sleep in darkness. And we were running on generator. So 11 p.m., if your diesel is running out, you have to figure out how to find diesel. So I'll go to the toll booth, and that's where the trucks will park at night. And you haggle with the drivers to siphon some from their tanks for you so you get enough diesel to take back. They started, because I was from Ghana, Nigerians call Ghanaians Omo Ghana. So there was a guy there, we used to call him Baba Toll Booth. And every time I get there, Omo Ghana, my daughter, you have come. Hey, Shegu, come. Go find Baba 3 drums. And so, I really learned a lot.
What was the motivation, though? You could have just come to Ghana. You could have just stayed in America.
Well, if you're given challenges and you don't face them head on and you dodge them, then you're always going to dodge challenges. Because life, from seeing my grandparents, even my own parents and my uncles and everything, life has never always been smooth. Like I said, when I got to America, I was working on a farm initially. So I really felt that if I could tough it out in Nigeria and I could survive at least one whole cycle, I did almost 2 years, but if I could tough it out in Nigeria, then I could pretty much be able to work anywhere. Because one of the other things that, even though America teaches you a lot about how to be innovative and everything, I don't think it teaches you a lot about how to be tough. Because when you wake up in the morning and you flick the lights, it's on. You never have to worry about whether you have power, whether you have water. You drive, and even if you're dozing off, you're not going to hit a pothole to wake you up, right? So roads are smooth. You've spent time there. So if you are also not careful, you may fall into this relaxed state because everything works. And I just feel Nigeria really gave me a reality check of what my experience back home was going to be.
Oh, when you came to Ghana, where did you start off before the education ministry? From return to from Nigeria to Ghana, where did you start?
I came to Ghana and started a consulting firm. So I brought my education consulting firm to Ghana. My first major job was with the Ghana Christian University College. It's on the Dodo Amrehia Road. And I supported the president at the time with institutional development, really helping them to raise funds. At the time, there was a telco called the Expresso. I helped Expresso set up a partnership with them to, so that they could have a Wi-Fi campus. And then Expresso provided them some resources to kind of build up some of their classrooms, like clean up some of their classrooms and everything else. So I was initially a consultant at Ghana Christian.
Okay.
Then I also consulted for an American university. At the time, it was a college, Goodwin College, that wanted to set up in Ghana. I got the opportunity to be connected with them, and I became their lead consultant and executive director. I set up Goodwin College in Ghana. We started recruiting students. And the way we were running, this was back in 2012, 2013, into 2014. And the way we were running is the classes were being taught in America, and we were beaming online. So we're doing distance education. And when the students will come to the center, each student will have their own computer. They can see the professor teaching in America, and they'll follow. They are able to ask questions. So they sat in an American classroom in Ghana.
Here in Ghana.
But after about 2 years, they felt that they were not getting enough students. Of course, they were looking for quick wins. So they made a decision to close down. And what I did immediately was to get the Ghanaian students that they had recruited here on the same reduced fee to go to America.
Oh, that's
so
really good.
they all went to America. And from there, I then joined, Oasis Capital was investing in a school called Rising Sun Montessori. They were looking for a principal to run 3 campuses. So I joined Rising Sun, spent some time there. So it was at Rising Sun that Anglo Gold Ashanti discovered me, and they invited me to come and help them with their schools in Obuasi.
Oh,
Yes.
so okay.
Yeah.
So every time I read something about you and it takes me to Anglo Gold, it is the education bit
It's the
of
education
it that
bit,
you...
yes.
Yeah.
So Anglo Gold, of course, their core business is gold mining. But they also had corporate social responsibility or sustainable development work they were doing, education, health, and other social interventions. But they got to a point in 2014 where they went through a redundancy. They had to lay off a lot of the staff, and they were looking for ways to become leaner and more efficient. But they knew that especially their school, their malaria control program, and the hospital, they didn't want to just close them down. So they were looking for ways to hive it off. So I was brought in, I redesigned the school to be a wholly owned subsidiary of the mine. The mine gave an initial investment, then we started to introduce fees because people were going to school for free. So we started to introduce fees. When I was there, we grew the students. When I got there, they had about 1,180 students. When we introduced fees, we lost almost 400 to about 800. But then we grew it back to about 1,350. Today, Anglo Gold, and I started a second school. I started a Cambridge International School in
Over
Obuasi.
there?
Yes, WB School. Today, between the two schools, they have close to 4,000 students. You know, so I'm very
It's been
proud.
education for you. I want to get into the tea, how you got the job, the Deputy Director General. But before that, somebody watching us now will think that, sounds all quite rosy for this man. Have you had any challenges?
Of course, it's not been all rosy. You know, I've had a lot of challenges. When my family was relocating to Ghana eventually, you know, we had difficult financial situations because I had left I had left Nigeria. I had come and I was doing consulting work. And not as difficult as other people would have it, but had to foreclose on my home in America in order to make sure that I wasn't financially burdened. Being here in Ghana, in terms of after my senior found a place for us, we had to pretty much hustle every year for rent. I was determined I wasn't going to move to my father's house.
Yeah.
So, and it wasn't my choice initially. When I first came to Ghana, I didn't have private transportation. So I was living in Dansoman before my family came. And I used to take the trotro from Dansoman to Amrahia every day. Met some great people on trotro, some people that I still keep in touch with. There was one day, you know, the trotro usually move from Oyibi or Dodowa, and it would go to Circle. So I have this really great experience. You know, sometimes people will have company buses. After they will drop people off, they will run trotro. That day, the driver was running the road from Amrahia through to Circle. And he got there, I didn't have money. So I told him that any made
I cannot reconcile that.
That gentleman and I became great friends, you know. You know, his name is Bralawe, and we continue to stay in touch from time to time. But, you know, imagine senior consultant, I'll rub a tie to her and then Zach.
Oh my God. Did you not have the appetite to go back? Because really, you just pick up your passport and then you go back to the US.
I was never, when I made the decision that I was coming home, there was not a single time where I felt that I should leave. Again, what Naval Base taught me, you know, what Bempah College taught me, what my experience in Nigeria taught me and everything was about resilience. And so just because you think that there is a rosier path doesn't mean that, you know, you know. And at the end of the day, that's what I tell my children all the time. You know, Ghana is all we have. You know, you may be fortunate. When I was born, I was fortunate that I was born. My father is an accountant. You know, I don't remember my father not having a car. And you know, at that time, that was a status symbol. My father had a car and we had a house. There were a lot of us, but you know, we had a 3-bedroom house. Boys' room back for girls'
Whenever
room
it is, we have a house.
Our parents' room is also one. But so I was not born into abject poverty. But one of the things that I have also learned to appreciate is that if you cannot learn to tough it out when things are difficult, then, you know, you would always be on the run. And even in America, people are on the run.
True.
People are on the run. So just because it looks rosier there doesn't mean it's rosy. Oh, you are Ewe.
Yes.
I met this man in America, and he told me that, you know, in Chi we say abrochi. In Ewe, what do you say? Ablochi.
Ablochi.
And he was telling me that if you speak to a very typical Ewe, ablochi actually means the place you go and they convince you is better than home.
Yeah.
Right?
And you stay there.
And you stay there, right? But the whole thing is you go and they convince you is better than home, right? But then I remember he would always tell me that if you are not careful, you would also always be chasing the greener pastures. Because now people in America, you know, those, especially those who are having immigration issues, you know, they have major challenges.
Yeah.
So I think that once you make your nest where your home is, nobody will come and sack me from Ghana.
True.
Yes.
There are a few things that the current government says they want to phase out. Double track, they believe they should phase it out. In fact, teacher licensure exams, I like to think that the last cohort is what happened last year, August. These two policies, do you agree? Do you think that we should have kept them, or?
Well, double track was not intended to be permanent. It was a temporary intervention. The idea was to use an innovative strategy to admit students now while you build. So if you are able to complete the infrastructure, then there may not be a need for double track. but you cannot force it out when you have not completed that
So in
infrastructure.
basic understanding, we must provide enough infrastructure to be able to admit students, then you can phase out the double track.
Yes, and the way to think about it is that in Ghana, our birth rate annually is about between 600 to 650,000 new births annually. So even if our birth rate remains constant, that means you need 1.8 million spaces in senior high school. Because with the fact that children can progress all the way to senior high school, you expect that all of them will progress. So until you have 1.8 million spaces, and if every child wants to have access to senior high school, you would need to find a way to provide access because the law and our constitution say so. So it is, while I talked about it as a moral imperative, it is also legally binding on government to provide that opportunity for every child. So phasing out double track, it's not the question of phasing out, it's the question of doing it responsibly, replacing it with the infrastructure so that you can phase it out. From the time I was Deputy Director General until the time I left in 2025, government had completed some 1,100 new infrastructure in senior high schools to support the gradual phasing out of double track. To do it abruptly is just going to be unwise. It's not going to be the smartest thing to do because then you would disenfranchise and you disadvantage children.
I couldn't even keep my own promise of not getting technical with you. But
so then quickly about the licensure exam. It's quite unfortunate when you have a conversation that you want to, because to move or cancel licensure exam is to say you want to deprofessionalize the teaching profession. Because nobody would ever say they want to cancel the licensure exam for medical doctors. Nobody will say they want to cancel. An unlicensed doctor, would you go for practice? Would you go for medical care? No. An unlicensed nurse, would you go for medical care?
What do they mean by for the teachers is embedded in the teacher training college education they receive?
The idea, and this conversation obviously I want it to be devoid of active politics, but it is no secret that I was part of Dr. Bawumia's 2024 manifesto team. And the proposal that we had put out is to, it's not about embeddedness, it's about that assessment at the end of their academic journey. And the proposal we had was teachers were complaining about the fact that they complete in June, and sometimes they may have to wait a whole 9 months before they write the licensure. So what the best thing to do was to take National Teaching Council, which is the holder of the license, to work with the colleges of education to administer that licensure assessment
immediately
at the end of the education journey. So that was the proposal. But to say that you are eliminating it or you are abolishing it is to say that people can just go and teach without being assessed by the body that assess whether or not you are a good qualified teacher. It's almost like saying you've completed medical school, go and do operations without being a licensed doctor. You've completed nursing school, go and start putting in IVs without being licensed and everything else. You and I will not subject our bodies to a medical doctor or a nurse or a pharmacist who's not licensed. Why should we subject our future, the most important thing, the brain of our children, to a person in the classroom who we have not certified as being able to train that brain?
What was it like for the teachers? Did they like the idea? Did
the
they
teachers,
push back?
even if you remember when licensure was being introduced, the Deputy General Secretary of NAT, I think his name is David, Dan Afadu, made a very public statement that they are not opposed to the licensure at all. What they want is a process that is fair. And so it began. As a matter of fact, the beauty and what we all need to realize is that licensure as an assessment for teachers started in 2016 under President Mahama.
Sure.
5 districts were piloted. Professor Jane Nano Pokwajima, Her Excellency, was the Minister of Education then. They started licensure exam. this government, or Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's government, and Dr. Matthew Poku Prempeh, and eventually Dr. Osei Duchum, just came to continue that process. It was a matter of improving it. That's why I'm saying every work we're doing is a continuum. So if we have gotten to a point where teachers are professionalized, their license, holding a license now means that with the license that has not expired, you can practice in the UK. They have an articulation agreement today, right? You can practice in Australia. You can go and practice in Canada. You can practice in America without writing the praxis exam. So it's a matter of the teachers are complaining that the gap between the time they finish school and when they do the licensure is not favorable. Bring it together so that it's favorable for them, just like in medical school and nursing training college and everything else, rather than say we are abolishing it.
But what do you say to people who say that, but what is wrong? I hear you, and I hear the concept of the medical practitioners and its other related, areas or sectors. But what do you say to teachers who have, of course, graduated, practiced in teaching for years, and say that you hear, so what is wrong with us who didn't take the licensure exams?
There is nothing wrong with that. As a matter of fact, when the lines, in everything you do, there is always a process. If you go into medicine, the first set of people who were practicing medicine were not licensed.
Okay.
But they were doing great as doctors, right? But over time, it is also a regulatory process to make sure that if someone wants to hold themselves out as a professional in a particular field, HR is now certification to be a human resource manager, right? Engineers are certified. So why is it that we don't want to give teachers that same respect of being certified and being licensed and being able to carry that professional license wherever they go?
Well, I mean, if the teachers say that they are not against it, then, I mean...
A majority of them say they want it, right?
Is it just me, or it existed? Because, and I'm asking you this, first of all, my father's a teacher. I grew up at Picky Training College.
Fantastic training college, one of the best training colleges.
I'm sure he'd be happy to hear this. Yes. And actually spent late years of his at the Ghana Education Service as well, at the Adidome district.
Yes.
So,
in those days, the training college were part of Ghana Education Service. It was only in 2018 that the training colleges became part of universities.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, so I'm sure that for this particular interview, he'd be very keen. Education is what he says. But is it just me? But would you agree that hooliganism in our basic and secondary level has increased, or it's just because we have social media and so now we can see more of it? It already existed. For your 7 years at GAS, what did the records look like?
Well, you've somehow answered part of that question. There is a Canadian philosopher called Marshall McLuhan, and Marshall McLuhan has this philosophy of the fact that the message doesn't change. It is the medium that changes. 1 + 1 is always 2. But when we were first growing up, it was slates and chalks. And then it went to blackboards with chalks. Then it went to whiteboards with chalks. And now there are digital boards and everything else. But 1 + 1 is still 2. So it is the medium that is changing. When I went to Bempah College, there were demonstrations. But when the demonstrations happened in 1993 and 1994, when demonstrations were happening in schools, sometimes it may take 3 or 4 days for even GES headquarters to hear about it, right? So the medium with which information is now traveling, it's also creating this illusion of there is more issues than we may think about it. So social media is allowing the message to move much faster. So for me, my time in Ghana Education Service, I would always tell people that my first school I visited was in Kwanta Senior High School in Oti region. The reason why it was my first school is that the Daily Graphic decided to announce my entrance into Ghana Education Service with the double track. I had started working, but they announced my entrance into Ghana Education Service with the release of the double track calendar. My first time I was ever on the front page of a newspaper. Big picture of me in this blue suit. I had no beard then. little face looking boy. And then right at the bottom of my picture was demonstration at Nkwanta Senior High School. So I decided that my first visit was going to be at Nkwanta Senior High School because I wanted to have an opportunity to really talk to students and the staff about what really caused it. And it is not new. It is just that there is now a lot more recordings of it. My whole thing is that development of students in schools is not necessarily only the responsibility of the school. The school plays a major role, but it's a tripod, like your cameras that are sitting here. It's a tripod. The school is on this, the implementers are on one side. The students are on one side, and the implementers includes government. It's on one side. The students is on one side, and the parents who we partner is on another side. So it is, in order to reduce these challenges, two things must happen. The way we manage our own children at home before we send them to school, because we shape. There is another philosopher called Alfred Adler, and he talks about human development from a social perspective. So he talks about psychosocial development. And so we know that when human beings are developing in your home, that's where you learn about social environments before your family will take you to religious gatherings, other bigger families, and everything else. So we know that families shape. Then the schools also have a major responsibility in being the parent when the child is in school. So in education, anybody who is a teacher will tell you that one of the concepts we talk about is what is called in locus parentis. It's a Latin word which means in the place of a parent. So teachers in the education space are in the place of the parent. So which suggests that schools are really an extension of the child's home.
Yeah.
And then the third part is the student themselves. The school's responsibility on our part, the Ghana Education Service, heads of schools, everything, our responsibility is to ensure that we set certain standards and expectations so that when the students come, they understand those expectations. When I was in the GES, I used to always liken it in my trainings about classroom management, school management. I used to always liken it to being on a plane or an aviation travel. There is no ambiguity. If you're going from Accra to Kumasi by plane, you buy your ticket and you know when you have to be at the airport. If you don't show up at the airport at that particular time,
yeah.
When you are going through security, you know what you can have on you and what you cannot have on you. If you have it on you, you won't pass.
Yeah.
Once you get to the seating area and they start boarding, there are rules. Women and children, women with children first.
Yeah.
They will go before
Yeah.
you. Then you would get on the plane and you can't just sit anywhere.
Yeah.
You have an assigned seat. They will teach you some safety rules. So what I used to always say is that we need to adapt that in education. When the child is entering the school, there should be no ambiguity in the child's head.
Yeah.
What to do at 6 p.m., what to do at 9 p.m., what to do at 2 a.m., and everything else. If we continue to set up our education spaces in that way and create a system where the students know exactly what to do when, we would have less and less of these challenges. Because whether you like it or not, even though we don't think so, children, they like order. They like order. And that is why when they go to nursery school, they know what's going to happen next. They know they are going to do the round, they're going to sit, they are going to dance, there is play, and all these things. Once we continue to teach them that order, they like, and human beings in general, we like order.
I know a few who don't like order though.
Well,
there must be a disorder in their thinking.
They may say they don't, but when you are in an environment that forces you,
they push into that.
You have to.
They get in line.
I don't know how much time you have.
I do have a lot of time.
I can just tell you one funny story. I had traveled to London. This was even before I joined the Ghana Education Service. So around 2013 or 2014, I had traveled to London. And we flew to Accra. When we got to Accra, Terminal 2, that's when the international terminal used to be. And we got to the immigration, and there was chaos. Everybody running everywhere.
Heathrow Airport?
No. Terminal 2 in Accra.
In Accra here, sorry.
Obia, everybody's passing. Nobody wanted to be in line or anything. And I was just sitting there, and I remember I screamed in the terminal, and I said, "Everybody shut up!" An immigration officer looked at me, and I said, "Are we not the same people who were following orders in London 6 hours ago?" So it is a matter of how you set up your system and you expect people to be in it. Ghana, we don't like order. I hope your audience understands small tree.
They do.
And because they will discipline us, when we get to London, we get to America, we get to Spain and everything else, the same Ghanaians who say we don't like order, we are driving our cars at 65 miles an hour. Because at 67, police becho, camera will catch you. So it's a matter of us establishing a society and an environment that not forces people, but get people to
safely and comfortably
live in that order.
Okay.
And one thing I would also say is, we need to, as a society, get to that point where our most important value is human life. I think that we don't, there are so many instances where I feel we don't put high priority on human life. Because if we value human life very well, we would know that we have to do better in our schools. We would know we have to do better in our hospitals. We have to drive better on our roads. We need to make sure that our roads are also better fixed. People talk about roadworthiness. Sometimes I say the roads are not car worthy. So, it comes down to the value we put on life and the value we put on ourselves.
I hear you very loud and clear. I do hear you. I was promising we won't talk a lot of work, but see, let's get back to the other conversation.
Yes.
What do you like to eat? What can you eat like every day and not get tired?
Benku.
Benku and what?
Benku
with what?
Benku with all kinds. With pepper and fish. Benku with fish stew. Benku with okra stew. Benku with fante. You know, I enjoy benku.
How did I assume it would be maybe bode or you know?
But I like swallow. So fufu to any day you give me fufu, I'll eat. Any day you give me tozafi.
Once it is swallow.
Yes. And whenever I eat it too, there is always an evidence of something in my youngest daughter would always come and say,
Any of your children taking after you in any form or shape?
Yes, my two middle children, my two girls in the middle. I actually have 3 girls and a boy.
Okay.
No, so my third and last born, not my 2 middle children. My third and last born, they love the same thing I like to eat: rice water, banku, fufu, all those things. I am also very blessed that my youngest child, we share the same birthday. She's also August 21st.
Was it intentional?
God made it happen. It wasn't planned. It wasn't a C-section or anything.
That's really nice.
And we tend to twin a lot. We have a lot in common.
What's her name?
Her name is Madison.
Okay.
Nana Nyako.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, when you're not working, what do you love to do? Do you love music? Do you play at sports? Like, what do you love to do?
I am actually an introverted extrovert. You know, my work.
I understand that.
My work really means that I have to be extroverted and I need to be out and interacting with people. So when I get opportunities to retreat and be alone, I like to retreat and be alone. I like to read, not necessarily novels or fiction, even though when I get good ones, I read. Currently, I'm reading a book by the former Vice President of Zambia, Dr. Neves, on leadership. Basically, he talks about combining leadership with Christianity. And I think he has, because he's also a pastor. He's a reverend minister, and he became vice president.
The current vice president of Zambia?
No, the former vice president.
Okay.
Yeah, Dr. Neves.
Okay.
So I'm reading a book that he's written on leadership. So when I get good books, I read. But I like to read everything, you know. I will go and sit and read the back of bottles and what, you know, the ingredients and things like that. So I just like to read what you may call useless facts, but then sometimes it becomes useful, you know, based on the time. So when I'm not doing that, either I'm alone, I'm reading, and I enjoy traveling. I am yet to visit the Upper West region, but I've been to 15 of our 16 regions in Ghana. And when I say I've been to a region, it's because I've slept in it.
Okay.
So in order
Which
for me
one of the
to
regions
count,
is your favorite, apart from Volta region?
apart from Volta
Yeah,
region.
because I'm putting Volta region as number one.
Well, not because I'm biased, but I love my home region of Ahafo. It has such a character. It's only 6 districts. Ahafo is very easy to get around in. And of course, I enjoy my hometown of Goso and its environs, you know, places like Akodie, you know, very interesting places. We have communities way deep into getting into Western North, Asumra, Pomakrom, and those areas. So I would say that bias, I love my home region of Ahafo. But generally, I enjoy Ashanti region. I'm Ashanti, so I enjoy the culture and the depth of the culture. It's small, but they have a very, very amazing art scene, especially around the tech area, creative art scene around the tech area. So I really enjoy that. And because I enjoy history, the entire Ghana is full of really rich history. And when I go to Ashanti region, there is always amazing history, whether you're going to Bonure or to the Bosomtwe area, to the lake area, or you are going even in the middle of Kumasi, there is so much history, you know. So and because I enjoy history, I tend to love Ashanti region, Ahafo region. Of course, like you said, I am a fan of Volta region.
Me because
no, you and I had this conversation before we sat down,
okay,
right?
that's true. Shall I say that white is your favorite color? What color can you wear and not get tired?
Even though you think I'm very orderly, if I like wearing white, but Bibi Beso.
And your daughter will see it.
She will yell at me. So I love white. I also actually I like darker blues, right? So going into the navy blues, you know. And now there are new colors that people don't even know. People call some colors bottle green. I didn't know there was a color called bottle green.
There are plenty colors you don't even want to attend.
But I do love white because white is a color that you can pretty much, it goes with anything.
You must be very orderly to like white.
When you go into my closet, you would notice that I can wear white shirts for 2 months.
Hey,
without
I won't cry.
Like I said, but
I would have brought a tall list of books that we can play a game with, but I have to stretch you a little bit. So, do you ever listen to music at all? And if you do, what kind of music will you listen to?
I listen to all kinds of music, but my favorite, you know, the ones that give me a lot of lessons is DL, Daddy Lumba.
Sound.
Yes, Lumba is full of lessons. His music is full of lessons. Like over the past, say, 18 months, so before he passed away, for the past maybe 18 to 24 months, I listened to Mpimpim, right? Mpimpim Domi and Mpimpim Time. Because it's so much about life. The fact that you will not get it rosy all the time. You would have people that love you, people that hate you and everything. So I have come to really appreciate his music, the lessons in his music. And Lumba is actually the first musician that has allowed me to actually pay attention to lyrics. Because I'm a rhythm person.
Oh.
I can listen to music for years and not really know the words. That's
the direct opposite of me. I love the lyrics.
You know, there was this Michael, I think a lot of people know it, but there was this Michael Jackson song. We all said, watching Italia, Chibum.
And you stuck to that.
Up to today, I don't know the words. I don't know the words.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is attempt to play a few. So I put a few playlists together.
Yes.
And then I'll play it. Then I will ask you which one you like. Oh no, not which one you like. Who played who authored the song.
Already I'm marking myself 0 over 100.
Yes. Okay. Then we're going to a few words as well. I say it in English and you tell me the Chi name of that, that word. Okay. So we'll start.
Like rhythm. I know the rhythm. But the person who sang the song, is it? Somebody should help me. Should I look you can play the whole song. Is it
try.
It cannot be Sako there. Maybe Kwabena or something. Mary?
Chiame Kwame.
And I know him too, you know. I know him. I've met him. I don't know him very well, but I've met him on at least 4 or 5 occasions.
Oh my goodness.
But I love the rhythm. Chiame Kwame. Next time I will Chiame Fachemi.
Okay, let's see this.
Azonto goes, right?
Yes.
Azonto goes. I mean, like I told you, I love rhythms, but the artist, Bisakid, come you fetch this.
Okay.
Try another one.
Let's see.
Maybe Lumba Numbi.
Okay, say him the better for Mama.
I really want to say sorry. Because I'm a customer training for me. If you are, me and for me. When you say Antonio, we need you know.
Man, Antonio,
listen. But now I'm a year when you ain't cheering, and I'm sorry. I will me deal with your mom, and I broke my promise.
How old is this song?
Even before I get to the year, or Bobby or any boy, you know, it knew. It's a book in Kwana. What's it?
Yes, I could.
We are sure.
Oh, I'll be the bomb today. Oh, no. I said, you know, but just enough voice, and I say, or Cassani Hunimuka. And I think that's him.
Yeah, this is Sarkodia and Ifia.
1 out of 3.
Dear, why are dear? Okay, let me see you submit to me. I'm an I know. Now, dear. Because Omabo, Omudi.
On one case, he mentioned his name.
And also, Bonko no Nintonio. You know. How to beat a Mandico.
See, I know all rhythms, so, but how to beat.
Okay. And see,
maybe the words now will do well.
Okay, let's see. The words do. I hope you do well. But let me see if I can give you one of your. Michelle said, "We will be one. We will be one."
Amma.
Well, also to me, mommy title, no, because we need things.
Amma, and I'm a girl, so the Amma. And you wait, even if I don't know this one, DL.
That's right. It also to me, it can be because
my wife is
too much.
My wife is Amma, so if I didn't know this one,
she will be mad at you. I help her to be mad at you.
I'll be sleeping on that couch for weeks.
Okay, then let's attempt this one. Me can or profuma. Now I catch it with him. So the thumb.
Kokoromoti.
Hospital.
Ayaresabia.
Prophet.
Odifo.
Drinking cup.
Krua.
Mushroom.
Mre.
Antelope.
Ndede bia na me hu say otwe ana adoa. Emu baako. Otwe. Because it's an antelope that the hunter found in Lake Bosom Tree. And it's the bosom or Ochen bosom. So yeah, antelope is Ochen.
Okay, and the deer is which one? Adowa.
Adowa.
Okay. Okay. A mouse.
Ekura.
Cockroach.
Tefre.
An aeroplane.
Rimshine.
Where they ask a wood channel.
I'm treat there. You know, some of my friends say, "What country to say they want to bro for?"
Treat as a way there. Where channel too much.
Fabikan, what yeah, proper confidence, Bempah Tandoh.
Okay, a bat.
When I'm you, me and a bukra, ready from was say. When you go and they do the bat soup and they just umpine or something like that, right? They put it on your soup and you say, "Hey, I'm quite be any man." They'll tell you me and a bona, then the soup will go on to.
So if that is umpine, what about crocodile?
Crocodile.
Near Denchem.
Denchem.
Okay. I'm say where it's in the
yes.
Congratulations. Nti enyum no na say what is all mobile. Now we busa say wonder boy.
Me say I have this app called Shazam. And one am di busa.
Shazam ya na we say and please air your own.
E don't be me touch the Shazam say dey utu enye no am
Doug, what's the future like for you?
Well, personally, I have spent time doing a lot of different things in private sector, in public sector as a public servant. At a certain point, not at a certain point, I'm interested in running for office. I think that I want to be in the legislature of Ghana at some point, maybe in the next cycle, because I think that one of the things that can really be help to improve the legislature is to bring people with practical experience. You know, when there are laws being made about any area, I think that practicality adds so much value to how the laws are made and everything else. Of course, I have been very active in my hometown, and when the time comes, I'll try to run for office.
I'm told it's quite an expensive venture.
Well, one of the things that you also need to appreciate as a good, if you want to be a good politician, is to understand that it's work that you do with people. So no one person has the money or the resources to run for office. And so I was fortunate enough to have lived with a senator in America. And so it's a matter of crowdfunding, right? So it's a matter of getting people to believe in what you want to do, how you want to do it, the impact you want to have, so that they can invest in that future. So politics, it's not a venture that you go in alone, especially in terms of finances. So you would get people that will be interested. I've had conversations with a lot of people who are very excited about what they also believe I can bring to the table. Just in the interest of full disclosure, I am from Apejefiem. So President Kufuor is my grandfather. It's my grandmother's younger brother.
Oh, I see.
So there's that. That's why when I was telling you about Bempah College, my uncle is Napo, right? And so I have seen their trajectory in politics, and I've had conversations with them. It's an expensive venture, but it's also you have to be determined in terms of what you want to do. But that's probably where I want to go in the future. Right now, I am concentrating on my consulting work. I do consulting for a number of both Ghanaian-based as well as international organizations. But when the time comes in 2028, I think that I would want to see if my people will give me the mandate to represent them in the parliament.
All the best with that.
Thank you.
And everything else.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for sitting with us.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, I know you're welcome. Like, say, let me do to me most. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I'll bring you another installment another time. Stay well, stay safe.